What up, you guys? Welcome in. Ron Raphael, Black Gen X Man on a Friday. Always a topic of concern to get us going, and to keep us going, I should say, on the path that we should be on. Yeah, this should be time for us to hang out and chill. That's in a moment. But there's always time for business. That's right now. Let's handle it. Patriot Idiot. Ron Raphael on a Friday. Come on in, man. Black Gen X, man. I'm trying to do my part for the rest. Bringing y'all in, man, while I warm up and set up. It's not quite 8 yet, man, so I always give it a little bit of leeway, a little lag before I jump on live, something I didn't used to do. I don't think there's too many people watching, but just in case, gotta do it right. So I'm gonna make sure the camera's firing right, make sure everything is good. I'm gonna focus. Yo, this is October London. You already know who it is. This is Snoop Dogg's artist who attempted to create a tribute, a group of songs that remind us of the legendary. Y'all know who it is. It's kind of funny. His family heard this and they thought he was imitating him, trying to steal his style, and he said, no, this is a tribute to him. And I think he's doing a great job. Big up to Snoop and black men all over the world. Coming to you from one of my favorite places in the entire world. And that's Inglewood, California, Mob Lot. So I'll turn this around so you can see what's going on. Be right back. Enjoy. Okay, you can see I'm a bit of a sentimental type of person. Yeah, there's that rough side to me. But there's also that side of R&B that makes everything wonderful all the time. Big up to you on a Friday, man. It's Ron Raphael. And let's get with it. What time is it? Is it time? Almost.
All I hear is raindrops falling from the rooftop. Oh, baby, tell me why you have to go. 'Cause this feeling won't go away.
Once again, embarrassing myself, but that's what's so much fun about what I do. I am revealing who I am at the same time as I talk and chop it up with you and share some very pointed topics that we need to discuss on the Black Gen X Man channel. What's up, everybody? It's Ron Raphael, as I said before. Welcome in, Black Gen X Man on a Friday. Club Raphael is what I call it. Normally at a club, you come on in and you grab a drink and you let it all go. But what I do on Club Raphael is talk about some of the happenings that has taken place during a week that we've lived. This particular week, it has been crazy. I'm not much of a newsmonger. But things are going crazy, man, and I pray for everybody. I pray. I don't have my head in the sand, but what I've done is I'm concentrating on what I need to do, regardless of what they're doing. And the peace and just Xing it all out, chiming in to see what's going on, obviously. Can't be totally oblivious, but checking it out just to see what's up, just enough to be aware. And that's about it, and getting back to what I'm supposed to do, because what they're doing is not black folk business. It's not my father's business. My father's business is with me and with you. And so I come to you today with this question, though I neglected to do it right at the jump off, is why do we serve? Patriot, idiot. And it's not or and, it's literally one term that I've coined. Black men in particular I'm referring to, because we know that obviously that black women serve in the military, but when it comes down to being on the front lines and casualties of war, men die in record numbers on an annual basis in wars all over this world, and it has been so since man was able to stand up right and walk. So men die in wars, right? Obviously women do too, but this is about the psychosis, the problem. Why do we serve? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Now let me tell you a little bit about me. Obviously I'm an American. I came here, I was born here. I'm a first generation American, which means I come from a place of my parents. Both of my parents are from another country, Trinidad and Tobago, to be specific. So when I showed up here, I had my own feelings of patriotism. I'm a patriarch of Trinidad and Tobago. So let that just set the scene for me showing up in the United States. Now, obviously at birth, I didn't know who I was or where I was from, but I learned who I am. I am a Trinidadian. And it's something I did this week as a short, which is I asked you, do you know who you are? And have you ever made the affirming statement with these two words, I and am, and filling in the blank? And if you haven't, then you don't know who you are. And that's one of the questions or the problems we have with being in this country, being separated and divorced, severed from my ancestry and not knowing who we are. But I came here with a small bit of it from Trinidad, just a touch, enough for me to have ancestral pride, pride in a black nation, pride in black people being able to get it done, lead a country and do it without anyone else. It seems crazy that we should even have to aspire to do that, being that we are the oldest civilization on the planet Earth. We obviously know how to do all of this. In fact, we taught them. We taught them so well, they turned it around. All the knowledge, all the gifts that God imbued in us and that we shared with them, they used it for evil. I dare say what side of that evil coin spirituality sits on. Who governs that side of what they do in this universe? I dare say it's not the man upstairs. So I showed up here with this pride, I guess. Not being pushed down, not being thought of as told as being less than anyone. I came here with the strength imbued in me of my ancestors. And for it, every turn that I made, I've been punished. Very much so like the nation of Haiti has been punished for the past 100 years for simply fighting for their right and winning their freedom. I feel that every day in the United States because I'm not a pragmatist. I do not get along to get along in hopes of something will happen. And a friend of mine said he's pretty pragmatic, he said. And I told him, yeah, be pragmatic as you are on the way to slaughter. Sheep on the way to slaughter cannot be pragmatic. So we find ourselves in this year 2025 where black people are still stuck in a circumstance. We are still stuck in a scenario where we don't know who we are, because I say if we did, we wouldn't serve in the man's military. Now let's talk a little bit about the history of this country, right? We know it's been basically littered with negative treatment of black people. And though the history is accounted in a number of ways, I thought I'd remind us of it today. And how black men have been treated in the history of this country. First of all, we were shackled, thrown in the bottom of ships, stacked like sardines. Those that didn't make it were thrown off board. Many committed suicide. We traveled the space of the Atlantic in a hull of a ship, forced to live in our feces, our regurgitation. And we still made it over here, the strength of a people. After getting here, we were enslaved for approximately 400 years. Served this country, built the economic engine in which it has evolved and enjoys today. And all throughout that history of the country, black people have aspired and have fought tooth and nail vehemently to be free. We've done it by picking up pickaxe, machete in the early days before guns were pervasive. And we attempted to free ourselves. The next attempt we took was to become patriotic, maybe, which I think is sick, which I think is the beginning of our problem. Maybe if we served in this country's military, that maybe logic would speak to, that upon return and serving this country, that we will be given our dignity, our freedom, our citizenship, and be treated like free men. What happened was quite the opposite. Black veterans faced significant discrimination and violence upon their return from wars. And I'm reading just a little bit here. Despite their service and expectations for a more tolerant nation while serving in the military and fighting for democracy abroad, they often encountered racism within the military. Forget about when they came home. Just imagine thinking about the history of your people in this country, being in the worst situation you can ever be in as a people, and deciding for the sacrifice of the future and themselves, not just for themselves and their immediate future, but for everyone, that they would make the sacrifice and go to war for a country and earn their dignity. It did not happen. What actually happened was quite the opposite. In the military, they were treated poorly. Before they got to the military, they were treated poorly. Faced with racism and discrimination of all types. This treatment fueled the civil rights movement, and as many veterans were motivated to fight for equality and justice for their people. So what started to happen was black people thought the road to gaining their dignity in this country was through actual service. Hey, who's gonna talk to me crazy after I go to war for this country, come home with the uniform, and have put my life on the line? You know who did it? White boys who thought that we had the gall to think that we could ever be as equal or better than them. They envied and feared our progress in this country, as they always have. What this country is one big fear campaign on a man that has genetic dominance over the man that enslaved them. When they first saw us running on the savannas in Africa and walking up really towering over them with strength and beauty and genetic history, they knew it was over. And they began a campaign, which is still in effect today, to eradicate the black man. Why? Because of fear of their eradication. So every institution, everything they have ever thought of in this country, including keeping their women from us, has been done. Everything has been done to make sure and to keep the black man down. I almost feel impressed, a sense of pride in that. You've done all this to stop me? Just little old me, white boy? So when we come home, it continues. They're back. They're black. Not only do we know they're better than us, now they're assuming higher stations in society than we are. And it went on. There were lynchings. Black veterans, especially those running from World War I, were disproportionately targeted for lynching. Even while in uniform, some were lynched, highlighting the extreme nature of the violence. Racial violence. Black veterans were assaulted, threatened, and abused by white mobs, individuals, and often for exercising basic rights and asserting their equality. So I went to war, I fought, got shot at, came back home, secured the borders of this country for who? Obviously it wasn't for myself or black people. We were denied benefits. GI Bill, we never got it. I remember all through the 80s and 90s, this big campaign for this great GI Bill. And we were all suckers once again. How do we keep kicking at the ball that they keep pulling out before we kick it and we bust our ass like Charlie Brown? They did it again and we fell for it. No GI Bill. The numbers show that at every turn, applying for loans, attempting to get a home, attempting to also go to college on a GI Bill, that if you check who actually got the bill, the money in their pocket to take care of the things the bill said it would, you'll find that black men and women were grossly, disproportionately served. I'm not surprised. And I'm the militant one. When I say these things, because history shows it, you're not going to be able to use that. I get argument. Trump will never go to jail. I get arguments. Trump will be president. I understand this country and I get it. But many of us don't. We still languish in this delusional state that at some point that this country opened their arms and wanted black men in it. Wake up, guys. They don't want us here. Even after you serve in the military and even after you put yourself and your life on the line for it. So let's talk about, I thought I'd talk about the word itself, which is the two words, in fact, which are found in my thumbnail, patriot in the back, idiot on the front. So they put I'm not going to say that word right now. It's stuck. But the study of the word patriot and the study of the word idiot we find that the two words have a similar suffix. Now, ayat means to belong to a group of. It's a Greek derivative. It's a Greek word. IOT, belonging to a group or a category. Patar is also a Greek word, and it means father. And the meaning of this word is to have a strong connection with your country, so much so that you are willing to die for it. Now, the other word, idiot, has an interesting history. The word idiot is a Greek word, right? And it was funny finding out about it, a little bit of education along the way. It simply meant a commoner, someone that was basically to themselves and did not involve themselves in much. They kept to themselves. They were a private person, a private citizen, not involved in much in politics, the ongoings of the community, the gossip. And I'm sure that this particular station in ancient times was something that was admired. Someone that could function outside of the trappings of society. But over time, this word, idiot, now pronounced idiot, has a negative connotation. And the reason why is because if you spend all your time detached from what's going on in your society, your community, your church, your school, all the social constructs that are around you, and you take on an aura of keeping yourself independent from everything, you become disconnected. You lose connection of what's going on around you, the current events, and just the things that may affect your life. So if you're not aware, then there is no way you can be in control. But more importantly, everything and everyone around you is in control of you. So that's how the word commoner, meaning idiot, someone to themselves, the word commoner is what it meant back then. The reason why it evolved into someone that's just completely unaware, a dumbass, is because if you stay completely locked away from everyone, not connected, and looking at people and touching, shaking hands, kissing babies, figuring out what's going on in your city, the laws are changing, what's happening in politics, then you will become the negative version of that word over time, which is a puppet or an idiot. So that's why I say the patriot idiot is a term I coined that you could smash both of those words together. So yes. So how did Black Americans become patriots of a country that obviously does not want us? It's crazy, isn't it? So here, we've studied the word patriot, idiot. We understand it, how it's come together, and how two words can share the same suffix but mean the same thing. It's because one of them changed in meaning over time, right? The historic account, we talked about that, how black men were treated. And here's the last piece before I get out of here on a Friday and we get back to doing what we're supposed to do, which is enjoying our lives, keeping the enemy in the periphery, never losing sight, right? Keep your friends and family close and keep them what? We already know. So in answering this question, I knew that we were suffering from some type of psychological problem. How does one know the history, be affected by the history of this country as a black person, subjugated, enslaved, treated inhumanely, all the way up to being shot in the street on a daily basis, choked by cops, so on and so forth? How do we then take our lives that is so precious, the only one that we have, the one that we don't know if we'll ever have another again? We don't know about resurrection. We have no. It is the most valuable thing in the time we have in this vessel to then put that vessel online for people that don't give a fuck about you. How does that happen? It is amazing. I mean, I want to know what that power is like. I wouldn't use it for bad. But I would like to know the psychological triggers. How do you get a group of people, a person, anyone, to behave against their will? But even better yet, take one step further. Act in behalf of their enslaver and their oppressor, so much so that they will put their lives on the line for it. And it's funny, there's a term for this thing. You ready for it? The term that describes what is happening here. The term is called Stockholm Syndrome. The Stockholm Syndrome. It's a German word. A German two words, right? Stockholm. I say Stockholm because I studied German, and it's hard for me to pronounce it the American way. I'd have to force myself to. But the Stockholm Syndrome. So when I asked this question, it led me to the answer. The Stockholm Syndrome. What is it? What is the Stockholm Syndrome? And upon research, it came to me. So let me look it up really quick. Did I get it from ChatGPT? Hold on a second. Let me query it again. The Stockholm System. K-H-O-L Syndrome. Stockholm Syndrome. Okay, are you ready? And this is disheartening, man. And I think this is what's going on with us. I'm being a sociological doctor, and I'm going to diagnose you so you know what's going on with you. Because if you don't know what's wrong, how can you begin the steps towards fixing it? Awareness. Do not be an idiot. And I mean the ancient version of the word. Do not separate yourself and stay out of the beaten path, because over time you will become disconnected and you will become a puppet. You will become the negative side of that word, which is an idiot. So here we go with the Stockholm Syndrome. Let me see if I can pull it up for us. Stockholm Syndrome. And this is just a simple query. Stockholm Syndrome is a psychological phenomenon where hostages or victims of abuse develop positive feelings, emotional attachments, or even sympathy for their captors or abusers. It's not a formal mental disorder, but a way to understand the emotional response of some individuals in captivity. Now, the key characteristics of Stockholm Syndrome. Let's get it back up here so we can see it on a different perspective. Key characteristics of the Stockholm Syndrome. Positive feeling towards captors. Victims may develop love, sympathy, empathy, or desire to protect their captors or oppressors or enslavers. I mean, do I need to go any further? But let me drive it home. You develop negative feelings towards authorities with this particular psychosis. Victims may distrust law enforcement or those trying to help them escape. So when people actually show up, very much like people that are abducted, locked in the basement of a house or an apartment of someone's dwelling, they're still in the neighborhood that they live in, but over time, that person learns to love their captor. And as this definition is talking or mentioning or delineating, is that they even come to protect their enslaver, their oppressor, their kidnapper, whoever it might be, if they spend too much time with them. And there are other things that go along with this too. They say that it's a survival strategy. This bonding is sometimes seen as a way for the victim to survive or minimize harm from the captor. In other words, the more you kiss their asses, the more you're nice to them, hopefully the less they will abuse you. Maybe they might let me go. So you take the approach of kissing their ass, serving them, and over time, you learn to love them and protect them. The term Stockholm Syndrome was coined after a 1973 bank robbery in Stockholm, Sweden, where hostages developed a bond with their captors. This incident led to psychologists naming the phenomenon Stockholm Syndrome to describe the psychological response of hostages in such situations. So they saw it, we see it and have seen it. We saw it play out in a major way. And I believe these folks were captured in this bank for a number of days. I believe it was 11 days. And just inside of that period alone, just inside of those 11 days, those people learned to love their captors. So can you imagine 7 days times 400 years? Can you imagine? So this is what I pose to you. Could the effect of what they have coined as Stockholm Syndrome be so ingrained in our society that it is now in the DNA of every single black person, unless they say no? And guess what I did? Just like every other American boy at the age of 18, I have to sign up for selective service. I did it. But I tell you what I told myself on that day and even before, I will never, ever put my life on the line for this country. It's not my country. Never has been. Black folks, wake up. Black men, guess what will happen before I get out of here? Guess what will happen if black men, forget the women, as I said before, guess what will happen if black men boycotted military service? It would cripple the United States. In one sweeping hand, we would have the entire country asking us, what do we want as black men? And that's the only way to do it, is to take what's yours. And even then, I wouldn't want it. That's why it sickens me to celebrate the upcoming day. I'm not even going to say the day that we all celebrate, not we, but black people. We're celebrating they let us go. Fuck that. That's not a celebration. You let me go out of slavery. Once again, Stockholm Syndrome in effect. We are celebrating the fact that we were let go. Let me tell you something, fool. If I capture you and I wish to use you and I care nothing about you, but someone is forcing me, whether it be world pressure, political pressure, military pressure, to let you go, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to string it out as long as possible. And in that period of time, I'm going to figure out how to keep you enslaved. I may give the facade. And that's what's happened. We praise Abraham Lincoln for doing what? Embedding in the Constitution the fact that if a person is incarcerated, they will, in effect, become a slave. And that was the concession made by Abraham Lincoln. Southerners, the Confederacy, knew that by way of that opening, that crack in the mortar of the cement that was laid, called democracy and the ending of slavery of the Civil War, they knew that that crack would make way for another way that black folks can be enslaved for the rest of their lives institutionally. So they said, okay, what we'll do is, first of all, we won't tell them that we've so-called freed them. In fact, slavery had gone on for quite a bit of time before the entire country was informed. So they kept you enslaved after you were enslaved. Then there was Jim Crow and everything else. So you were enslaved and still are to this day. So to answer that question, what would I do? I would make sure that by the policies that slavery, discrimination, and racism, though it wasn't in the forefront of my behavior, it was written and immortalized and memorialized, if you will, in text, in word, in the Constitution. We were never freed. So black folks, stop it. Stop celebrating Juneteenth, goddammit. We're not free. We still are not. Because you're not free until you take your freedom. When someone gives you your freedom, you're still their bitch. Sorry to say it. One of the reasons why I feel so much pride in what's going on in Africa right now with Burkina Faso, Mali, a few other countries, Ghana, it's on the way. Now that's a country you should move to, either Mali or any of these countries in Africa that have recently stated, this is our country, get the fuck out. You want to fight? Go over there. This ends my message. Ron Raphael, Black Gen X Man. Don't want to keep you too long on Friday. So let's see what's going on here. That's new. Let's listen to this song, man. On the way out, on the way out. Club Raphael, let's bump just a little bit as we leave and change the atmosphere just a little bit. But man, think about it, man. You got to think about it. Why do we do this? Why? Now, if you're going to do it to take advantage of some benefits, or if you're going to do it because, you know, life has been down on you, this country's really bad on black men, and it's probably one of your last options, I get it. Go in, get what you need, and get the fuck out. And at all costs, avoid putting your life on the line. You're worth more than what they tell you you are. You want to fight a war? Come join up with me. Black men, Black Gen X men. Ron Raphael. Peace out, man, on a Friday. See y'all next week. Black Gen X man. Come on. Yeah. Come on, sing it. Let me get out of here, man. I got a few things planned. Let's see what's going on. Let's see if I can get lucky tonight. Okay, I got a few people that call me. All right, man. So I took you there. Oh, by my back. I took you there. I know I did, but hopefully I can bring you back, man. A good DJ can take you on a roller coaster of emotions and bring you back to bliss. So anyway, man, don't let this topic just go in one ear, come out the other. Think about it. Black folks, peace out. I'm out, man. Let's see if she responded. I know I'm militant, man, but hey, one of us got to do it. Somebody got to do it. Somebody's got to watch our back. All right? Yo, I'll put up a new thumbnail, man, and I did it the right way this time. I have all this equipment, all this technology, and I finally did myself right as far as photography and portraits are concerned, and I posted it, and starting to get rave reviews as I expected. All right, y'all. Wish me luck tonight. Might get lucky, who knows? Peace.